Hey guys, welcome back to Cheat Code Jiu-Jitsu. Jeff White here. Got a little something different for you today. We're going to try to dive right into this. No intro like we do on the normal videos. A couple of weeks ago, I did a Shark Tank roll for my 42nd birthday. Happy birthday to me. I got to go about 28 minutes. The guys at Spectre Jiu-Jitsu organized the whole thing for me, and a lot of people knew that I recorded it and asked for me to post it, so that's exactly what I'm going to do today. It's a long video, but definitely watch it. It's highly entertaining, especially if you enjoy watching me getting my butt kicked a lot, because there's definitely a lot of that's going on. Also, there's some downtime periodically during the video. I'll try to fill that with channel updates and also some questions, answering some questions that people have asked on a number of occasions. I've got my headphones here so that there's no overlap in the sound between the two video tracks that I'm playing. So with no further ado, let's dive right into it. I'll try to let you know who the people are and what's going on while this is going. So first roll here is with Demir. Demir's a blue belt. I've been rolling with him for a long time. I'm establishing shin hook control at this point. Usually use shin hook control and open guard to try to set up sweeps or leg locks. Immediately went to a leg lock, failed. I'm going to X guard now. Diving out of X guard, I was able to turn it into a sweep and then keep and maintain leg control. Almost got a heel hook. That was a side ankle lock, I believe was the submission that I was able to catch him with there. One of the first things that I realized is that we went way too hard, or at least I went way too hard during that first roll with Demir. One of the big things about these Shark Tank rolls is they are very taxing, and energy conservation is a must. For those of you who don't know how they work and you don't know what you're going to be seeing here, I'm going for about 28 minutes and I don't get rest. They're going to switch new people off on me about every 2 minutes or so. There I was able to pull a half guard sweep on Demir. I was actually content if I needed to just kind of hang out the round with him on top of me if I absolutely needed to. But being on top is certainly better for energy for me. Working the pass at this point, trying to pry my leg out. He doesn't have the tightest grip on it, but I also don't want to use too much energy. Kicked out to mount. Knee on belly is my primary staging position with a guy like Demir. He's really big and I don't like to mount great big guys if I can avoid it. Guillotine choke, mounted guillotine, and tap. There's my second tap about 2 minutes in. That's a common setup for me. You can see the side guillotine setup that I used for that in previous video that I posted here on Cheat Code. At this point, I'm largely content to just kind of sit back on the ground in half guard and work my defense. I suspect the time is running out here. This is only the second time I've actually watched this video all the way through, so I'm kind of reacting to it relatively fresh. It's been a few days. Demir's trying to push his knee down so that he can pass into quarter guard, and I'm doing my best to block that right now. And also hand fight, because I don't want him to get an underhook with his left hand. He's going to transition to back control. If I was a little more worried about the clock, I would have concerned myself with blocking that more, but he's running out of time. I've got good back control. He's arching back there, but he doesn't really have anything, so I'm okay where I'm at. This is a position, unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of, or at least, I guess, unfortunately for me, you're going to see a lot of throughout this, is I do spend a fair bit of time on my back. But with guys on my back, time's up, he's out. And now, this is not good for me because Jake came in. Jake is a brown belt. He's one of the co-owners of Spectre. Jake is one of my worst nightmares for a roll like this right now. As you can see, he's very fast, very technical, doesn't stop moving. I'm working to try to pass his guard. He did a nice little technical stand up there. Working past me, he's trying to get set up a Darce choke there. That's why I'm keeping my head back really far to defend that. He's been able to advance up to 3/4 mount or quarter guard. He's trying to pry his foot out right now. There tends to be a lot of technical hand fighting going on here. Many times they need to establish their grips on me I've got to counter, keep them from getting their grips. His inability to get grips is a large part of what's kept his foot in place. I walked it out there because it seemed like he was probably going to get it out, but he left his foot back, so I was able to re-grab. He's setting up a mounted triangle choke here, which I was able to defend, and now he's looking to transition to back control of his own. Jake's got really good back control. I was concerned that he was going to potentially choke me. If you'll notice with my left arm, I was kind of death gripping down. He actually completed the choke there, but he didn't have good position on it. I'm pushing up on his elbow. You can't see that from the current camera angle. My right hand is pushing the elbow up. It keeps the elbow elevation helps me defend. I had to turn over quickly there because I'm okay with guys taking my back, especially in a role like this where I've got to conserve energy for long periods of time, but I don't want them to be on top of me, flattening me out. I'm already going to be tired enough. I don't need their body weight on top of me. Jake is moving for an inverted triangle here. You see my left hand coming up, repeatedly trying to block his leg from coming around, and now he's moving into an arm triangle choke. Thankfully for me, time expired. He was not able to get anywhere with that. And if that was bad news, this is worse news. This is now Thomas coming in. You can see him getting tired. Thomas, good technique, but he was able to pass my guard pretty quick without a lot of resistance from me. Thomas is a black belt, very highly technical, another one of the co-owners of Spectre. And I've been with Thomas on my back before when we've both been about the same, and I've been able to largely survive. He has excellent back attacks, but I tend to have really good back defense. Unfortunately for me, with as tired as I already am coming into this, we're about 5 to 6 minutes into the roll. Thomas is establishing really good back control on me. My hand fighting with him is not working as well as I would have hoped. You saw him with his left foot previously trying to lock my left arm down so that he could get a 2-on-1 fight on me. He wasn't able to pull that off. I was able to defend. Now he's got my right arm isolated, but luckily I've got my back on the mat. So he's not able to get the choke in yet. I think here in a minute I'm going to be able to fight my arm back out, if it's not already. Sitting back up, I was trying to get a foot lock on his legs there. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to pull that off. Would have been nice if I could have got a black belt with that. This right here, I think, is the beginning of the end. He's got that right arm isolated, rear naked choke in place. Tap is coming. There we go. First tap for me, rear naked choke for Thomas. Fantastic technique. He's a very bad guy for me to be facing this early, being as technical as he is, and then he's even bigger than Jake, and he's got great cardio, so he was going to wear me out. I was happy for that buzzer to go off. Chris coming in. You guys have probably seen Chris before in previous videos on Cheat Code. He's been a partner of mine to demo with for a while. He's a purple belt under Keith Owen. Great guy. Happy to have him around. You'll notice I do a lot of camping in half guard and quarter guard. Half guard is kind of my favorite position. I've been working that longer than I've probably been working anything else in jiu-jitsu. So I'm extremely comfortable being on my back and being in half guard. Quarter guard is a common pull for me, which I then transition either into half guard, or right now I'm trying to set up a butterfly sweep on Chris. I'm starting to dig a right butterfly in. Can't really see it because of the camera angle. There it is. I was able to reestablish butterfly guard, spin through the leg control, and get the tap with a heel hook. So caught him in the transition. Basically, you get in half guard or butterfly guard, and you give me access to the middle of your legs. There's probably going to be leg locks coming. At the very least, that's going to be the first thing I'll look for. And you'll notice a recurring theme as we get deeper into this. The more tired I get, the more I start hunting for heel hooks as my primary submission. Chris is working to set up a Darce choke right now, but I'm keeping my elbows down so he can't get inside. I don't know if he was actually setting a Peruvian necktie up or if he was just trying to step over my head to establish leg control. He's got a cross wrist, or he had for a moment there a cross wrist, but I was able to hand fight and get it off. Definitely Chris is technical enough that I don't want him on my back if I can possibly avoid it. More half guard for me again. And at this point I'm just hand fighting. I have to block his cross face. I wanted a leg lock here. And unfortunately he was shutting my hips down, so I couldn't bring him up initially. And then there's the leg lock that I was going for. Finally got some room, but I've hit him with that too many times. He knew that was coming, so he was able to get out. Ryan is now in. Ryan is a white belt right now, a very high level white belt. He's annoying to tap. Ryan actually rolled with me a number of years ago at the map when we still had that going on, and got himself to a point where his submission defense was just excellent. And so he's on top of me trying to grind me out right now, looking for arm control, either for a Kimura or for a back take. Okay, and turtle, and then we're reversing back to guard. I'm now going rubber guard, straight to meat hook, which is one of my favorite rubber guard positions. Setting up a triangle choke on him. And he was able to get his head down and defend the triangle choke. I was looking for a side triangle initially, and then tap with a Schwifty Lock. Schwifty. For the record, I was not doing that to brag. I knew the camera angle wasn't going to catch what I actually caught him with, and I was doing it as a reminder to myself, so not trying to brag. Thank you, Phil Schwartz, for teaching me the Schwifty Lock. It's a shoulder lock on the free arm that's caught inside. Ryan's now setting up an arm bar. I've got Cobra defense in place, which means the arm that he's attacking goes into my elbow, and then I have this hand underneath of the leg that's over my head. We're at a camera angle right now, so you can't quite see that, but that's what I'm using to defend, and then I slide out. I was trying to slide out directly into a leg lock there, and I think I actually got him. Yeah, I got him with a heel hook. That's one of my favorite transitions, is they go arm bar on me, and then as I spin out and slide my arm that's in danger out, I immediately start grabbing legs and trying to establish leg control. I was able to get it there on Ryan and get another tap with another heel hook. So time's up. Next in is Ann. Ann is a blue belt, fairly new blue belt. Congratulations to Ann on getting her blue belt. She is a blue belt under a guy named Bo, who is my purple belt. She rolls with Bo at a local Jeet Kune Do studio with Chris Kent, where I'm going to be this weekend. Ann is fantastic. She is extremely annoying. I'm setting up an electric chair sweep here on here. As you can tell, Ann does a lot of yoga. She's going nowhere. There's nothing I'm going to do to tap her with that, but thankfully I was able to roll back almost into stoner control and get a sweep. Tried to set a leg lock there. I wasn't able to get it. I'm really happy to be on top of Ann right now. You can tell she's not that big. What she is, though, is she is extremely bony. When she gets on top of me, she starts driving elbows down and pushing her hip down into me, and it's maddening. I hate having her on top of me, frankly. So I was happy to get a turn on top of her, trying to control her.
Why did I teach her how to defend a baseball choke?
So, if you didn't catch those, why did I teach her how to defend a baseball choke? I was trying to set up my no-gi baseball choke and didn't work. Went to leg lock. She spun out, no problem. Check the no-gi baseball choke video if you want to know what I was trying to do there. Ann's back on top, setting up back control. I'm probably okay with her getting back control on me as long as I don't end up with her in a figure four. Talked to her about it. Her hands weren't quite deep enough in that arm bar, so she didn't have a good pull. And unfortunately, she's, for me, one of those people that just learned super well. I talked to her about it right after this roll was done, and she cleaned her arm bars up just like that. So thankfully for me, I didn't do that ahead of time, or I probably would have tapped from another arm bar there. Made my way back to full guard here. Ann's trying to break out. I'm just trying to stall for time. I think she's close on her time. Yeah. Went for a triangle there, but she was way too far away from me. There was no chance I was going to finish that. This guy, I apologize to whoever this is. I actually don't know this guy. Never rolled with him before, so my introduction to him was this roll. You can tell he hasn't rolled with me before. ashigarami to heel hook, most people who were to roll with me would never have put their feet up like that. They know that my general philosophy, which I got from Riley Bodycomb and a few other people, is if I'm looking to pass your guard, if your feet are down, I'm going to pass. If your feet are up, your guard's not worth passing. I'm just going to leg lock you. So as soon as I saw that foot presented, it was heel hook time. And now he's on top of me, but you can see I've got elbows in between us, so he's balancing on my frames at this point. He's a really big guy, but he doesn't really have a lot of weight on me. Most of his weight is on my frames, and I've got the lockdown in place now, so I'm able to keep him back. I was trying a sit-up there. I was hoping that I could spin out to the side and then come up on top of him. We're almost 15 minutes into the roll at this point. I was exhausted. Quickly realized once I started sitting up that I just did not have the energy to come around and attack him like that. So he was able to get me right back down. I wasn't going anywhere. Butterfly hook to stop that attempt at a leg underhook from him. And now just me shielding and trying to retain my guard and keep him from passing.
Huh? I mean, no, but
I think he asked me if I was okay. I think he accidentally hit me in the face or something. Initial response was yeah, and then actually no, I'm not okay. Quick bit of a lull here. I just want to let you guys know what is coming up on the channel next. Starting next week, we're going to go in a different direction. We've been doing a lot of side mount videos. I think I've covered almost everything I want to do from side mount, and I'm now starting a deep dive on the arm triangle position, which of course will lead into arm triangle chokes and a lot of other submissions. So stay tuned for that. Fun stuff coming up next week. This is Brandon. Brandon is a blue belt. Is one of those guys that just learns a lot of stuff really quickly. He's super technical, and he got out here fresh and really took my back pretty quick. I couldn't stop him very much. He's going to work for a rear naked choke here, which he's not going to get, but you can see he's setting up a really good arm grip there on my right arm, which is going to lead to him walking he's got that foot on the hip because he's trying to drive his left foot out. I'm trying to keep body weight on it because I know what's coming. He's going for an arm bar, and unfortunately I was not able to do it. He got me turned to the side, got me turned around, and in a minute that leg's going to come over my face. Now he's fighting for an arm bar.
tap.
So he got me there. Some people asked me, it looked like an early tap because my hands were still together, so I was still defending. I tapped early because all the pressure and the way that he was twisting was actually going into my shoulder, and I knew I could feel that my grip was failing. It was going to pop out. He was going to get it. I was just concerned that if it popped out too fast, it was going to come flying out, and he wasn't going to be able to protect me, and I wouldn't be able to tap fast enough. It popped my shoulder. Attempted omoplata. I was able to spin out of that and stay on top, and now I'm trying to work my side control Darce game if I can. So anyway, yeah, Brandon, it was an early tap, but Brandon was going to get that shoulder lock, so credit to him. It was definitely a legit submission. I was able to get Brandon's back. He's doing a good job right now of scooting his back out to keep me from getting my bottom hook in place. Bottom hook is the most important one when you're trying to establish back control. I was able to mess with him a little bit there and almost got his arm trapped. I was hoping I could get a rear naked choke tap out of him there, but it was too slick for me. Tony's in now. Tony is a guy that I've rolled with for a number of years. He used to roll with us back at the mat, and Tony travels a lot for work, so I don't see him regularly. This is like actually the first time I saw Tony in about a year and been able to roll with him. He was in a car crash not terribly long before this, and this is the first time I think that he's been back on the mats in 6 months or so. I was really annoyed with him. So here's a funny story. After we finished this roll, the whole Shark Tank, we stuck around. We probably did about another hour rolling, and I got another round in with Tony. And I don't know if there's ever a point during this video where you can see it, but he showed me his foot. I think it's his left foot, and he's got some scarring and sort of some cuts and just nasty stuff. His left foot is still really hurt right now from a car wreck, and it's not fully healed. And he just asked me, totally appropriately, but he just asked me, you know, don't footlock me. on this foot because I don't want to get re-injured, which is a completely legitimate ask, but he didn't tell me that before I rolled with him right here. So you've got a really tired me who's been rolling for almost 20 minutes now, that I'm doing a lot of defense, and then somebody leaves a leg dangling and I'm heel hooking them is most of what I was getting, which I was actually setting up right there. And so luckily I never ended up with an opportunity to attack the injured foot of his, because that would have been very bad. I would have felt bad about that. Good pass from Tony. He's obviously figured out that I'm not defending back control super well at this point, or at least not stopping people from transitioning to my back, so he's able to dive in there. And now he's working for his rear naked choke. Bit of a lull coming up, I think, here in a minute. No, next roll. So Josh is a white belt, local police officer. Started rolling with him maybe around 4 or 5 months ago.
24.
I was just asking about time. I was under the impression they were actually doing 3 minutes.
Lost count.
You're done when the sun goes down.
Yeah, shut up.
Awesome. Somebody hurry that up.
I thought they were running 3 minutes. I didn't find out until the video when I started watching this and counting that they were actually switching people off on me every 2 minutes, which is it's easier for me if I can get them in there for 3 minutes at a time, because then they start to get a little bit more drained as the time goes on. When I got guys switching off on me every 2 minutes, which is what I did for my 40th birthday as well a couple years ago, I get really tired and they can really go hard at me for a good 2 minutes. Josh was difficult to deal with here because he was moving extremely well. You can tell he's a big guy. He knows how to distribute his weight well, and he was keeping me from sweeping me, and he was really putting a lot of pressure down on me, stopping my ability to get frames in. Luckily, I was able to take advantage of some of the things that he was doing just a little bit wrong and establish my half guard. I think he's looking for another back take. While we have a quick lull here, people ask me a lot of times why I ask people to always hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Nobody knows exactly how the YouTube algorithm works with them suggesting videos, but everyone agrees that interactions with videos are really good and really important. When you comment on videos and when you hit the like button and things like that, it's a way of telling YouTube that it's a really good video, and they should suggest this video to people who are not current subscribers of the channel, so that when people then log in and they're on their home page, my videos will show up in their suggested videos more often. And also when people are watching videos like this, if you look over to the side, there's a whole bunch of suggested videos over there, and it'll make it show up more there. So please smash the like button. Zach. I really don't like Zach. Zach is one of those guys who's small, he's fast, and I remember we used to beat him up a fair bit, and he's getting really good, which is very annoying. I keep asking people to stop showing stuff, and they don't. He's hitting a nice little leg drag pass on me. I've got a bit of a leg entanglement there with my daily Heva guard, so I can kind of slow it down, but he's pressuring in really well on me, doing a good job. Just generally annoying me. Wasn't happy about having to roll with Zach at this point just because of how fast he moves. Jailbreak there gets me almost back to guard, but if you could see Zach was doing a good job holding onto my right foot there, so I wasn't able to re-guard entirely. Good technique from Zach. He's setting up an arm triangle choke right now, which he's going to transition to, and unfortunately for him, you can't see it, but I have Joe defense in place, which I have not shown on the channel yet, but you're going to see that before too terribly long once I get Joe out for a Joe Jitsu session. He's transitioning from that, looking for either arm bar or back control. Good attempt at an arm triangle. That arm triangle was actually really tight. Joe defense saved me. Zach's going for an arm bar. Wasn't able to get it. I told him after this the only thing that I wanted when I sat up there was not to turn into a triangle, and he caught me anyway. So good technique on Zach's part. I've got my right arm stuffed down by his hip to block that off, to keep him from getting the triangle in place. He is, unfortunately, being a shorter guy, much like myself. I've got fairly broad shoulders. He's having a tough time getting his legs together. I haven't shown him the gag reflex triangle at the time of this video, so he, thankfully for me, didn't go for that. I've since shown him that, so glad I didn't do that ahead of time. There's a deep dive also coming up on the triangle as a control position, so pay attention for that. It'd be really good, especially for short guys who do triangles the way I do. This is another guy that, unfortunately, apologies to him, I don't actually know who this is. I've never rolled with him before. This is our first time locking up. He is we're doing this all at Spectre Jiu-Jitsu, which is inside of Dragon Bushido in Boise, Idaho. And he's you can see him wearing the Dragon Bushido shirt. He was one of the people in the kids class before this who was helping running drills. And my feel for him is that he's athletic, he's strong, moves well. He's clearly got some experience in jiu-jitsu, but he's not super technical. So he moves a lot and he's getting me tired, but he never really had me in danger a whole lot. So as mentioned there at the end of Zach's roll with me, we do have some deep dives coming up. The idea behind those is going to be I'm focusing on positions or submissions like the triangle, the arm triangle. People think of them as submissions, but I'm trying to teach people to think of them more as control positions where you have really good control over people, but there's also multiple different submission options that you can do from there, so you're not just single-mindedly focused on the triangle choke or the arm triangle choke. Start paying attention to more options that are out there. So those are coming up. If there's any other positions you'd like me to cover on those, comment down below. Be happy to look at anything that I can. See, I'm using, obviously, in all of these rolls, a lot of butterfly guard and a lot of half guard. My game is very heavy on both, and particularly in a situation like this where I'm tired, anything that I can do to tie people up in guard is very good. Not a lot going on here. I think I was kind of setting up an inverted arm lock there. I did not expect that I was going to get that. I was too tired and I was out of position. So, good job from you. This is Sarah. Sarah's a white belt. Sarah's biggest thing that's holding her back in jiu-jitsu right now is she's too smiley and she's too happy. As you can see with her laughter, she still does a lot of nice jitsu and apologizes for things. We're gonna turn her into a jerk at some point. So,
Yeah,
she scratched me there. I was trying to remember what happened.
Scratched me on the neck as she went by.
Yeah, she had her hand on the back of my neck and just scratched me. I had a really bad red mark across the back of my neck. I'll try to throw up here a picture that one of the guys took of what my neck looked like after that. Butterfly sweep. She had knee pressure down on me, but she didn't have an underhook, and so I was able to sweep her as she went by, transition myself up into mount. This is the last roll, by the way. Setting up an arm triangle right here. I don't remember what the problem was, but I wasn't able to get something correct. But when she turned over, I was able to set up a guillotine, side guillotine choke right there. 27 odd minutes in. Thankfully, still able to get taps. I was so tired right now. I was absolutely exhausted. Setting up shin hook guard, and then I just bailed and went to De La Hiva. If I had my wits about me a little bit better, I would have tried to throw in a knee shield at that point, but I was just too tired. Sarah's doing a good job hand fighting and stapling my legs down. I was able to get the knee shield back at this point. And thankfully we're done. So, 28 minutes down, give or take, is how long I went. It was a fantastic experience. I was happy to be able to do it. It was in some ways better than my 40th birthday because I didn't go quite as long. I actually did 40 minutes on my 40th birthday, but definitely this was pretty rough because I didn't get any rest at all. I got a little bit of rest on my 40th birthday. So anyway, that's my Shark Tank video. Like I said, pay attention. Monday, Next upload is coming. We're going to start the deep dive on the arm triangle as a position. So pay attention for that. It's coming. If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you get updates every time I upload a new video. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.